everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel. This is my November TBR. So I am being very ambitious in November because, to be honest, I'm only working for part of it. I think I'm off work for over half of the month because I am getting a puppy and I'm sure he is going to take up a lot of my time. I also think he's going to sleep a lot. So I'm thinking for the 2.5 weeks that I'm off looking after him, I should be able to fit in some good reading time. And if not, my husband is then off for 2.5 weeks himself to look after the puppy. So while he's looking after him, I will be able to do some reading. I have a lot of goals and plans for November. Like I said, my birthday is coming up as well, so I think that's probably going to entirely trash my TBR goals, but that's okay. Let me just talk you through what I'm planning on reading. Of course, I am planning on reading Iron Flame as soon as it comes out in November. It's coming out on the 7th, I believe, which is a Tuesday, and that's one of the weeks that I have off work, so I'm planning on getting stuck into that. I've pre-ordered the book. I'm considering getting the e-copy and reading right away at 12 AM, but I think I'll probably be okay with the physical book. If you haven't seen already, I have just done a recap of Fourth Wing, the first book in this series, and I posted it to my channel. I did a written recap on Recaptains, my website, and I'm bringing my website to Booktube. So if you want to go and check that out before you read Iron Flame, then please go ahead. I do a full spoilery summary of what happened in the book. So I'm planning on reading Iron Flame on the 7th, and that's obviously not going to be the first thing that I read because I don't want to go a whole week without reading anything, even though I am really excited for it. So I've actually started something for the SciFi Month project. In case you didn't know, SciFi Month is an event that happens every single year in the book community. I don't really know the reasoning behind it being in November. There must be some sort of reason, but I don't know what it is. And it's hosted by a bunch of people. I'll put the links to all of the information down below. Basically just a month in which you read sci-fi books and promote them. It's been ongoing for years at this point, and I haven't taken part in quite a while, so I'm looking forward to taking part this year. The first book that I'm planning on reading for that is Gideon the Ninth, so I'm actually already starting this. I'm 70 pages in and I'm listening to it on audio as well as reading it, and I think that really helped with the first 70 pages because there's a lot of terminology and a lot of names and a lot of houses that I don't really understand. But what this is about, to give you kind of more of an idea of just saying it's lesbian necromancers in space, it's about a young woman called Gideon, is a fighter, I guess. She was kind of found with her dead mother when she was a baby. She landed on the planet where the Ninth House lives. So she's grown up there and she's always been kind of an outcast. No one really likes her. She doesn't like anyone there either. One day when she's 18, she's trying to escape, but then it comes about that actually the Ninth House really needs her because the emperor of all of the houses is looking for a special necromancer. The lady of Ninth House, Harrow, is a necromancer. She just needs a swordswoman to help her win this competition so that she can become the emperor's favoured necromancer. So Harrow and Gideon, where I'm at, are about to go to, I think, the first house and get involved in this competition, whatever that is. I don't really know anything else just yet, but yeah, that's the basic gist of it. I've heard that the ending is very twisty, and I have already actually ordered books 2 and 3 because I think this might be a series that I want to recap on my channel because I think there are some fun twists and I think it'll be a really good one to recap before the 4th book, Electo the Ninth, comes out. So that's where I'm at with that. Some other sci-fi books that I have a lot of them. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to all of these, but these are my options. I like to have a bunch of options. I have Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I really want to read his new book, Abandon, but I haven't gotten around to this one yet, and I kind of like reading authors' books in publication order, and this one came out first, so I'm going to read this and then see if I feel like reading Abandon in November as well. No idea what this one's about. DNA, maybe. I also just purchased Parasite by Darcy Coates, which is a sci-fi horror book. This is kind of, I think the plot sounds kind of generic for a sci-fi horror in that it's about a parasitic alien species who infect humans. I've read this kind of story quite a bit, so I don't know if I'm going to be in the mood for this in November, but it is one that I recently bought because I really want to read some more sci-fi horror. It just depends if I'm in the mood for this particular kind of sci-fi horror. I also really want to read Insignia. This is going to be a really fast-paced YA book. I read the first chapter of this a little while ago because I wanted to see if I wanted to keep it on my TBR because it's an old school YA book and I had heard really good things about it at the time and I wasn't sure if it was still my kind of thing, but I did find that the first chapter was really interesting. So this is about a young boy called Tom who is recruited by the state to become a combat warrior sort of person in a virtual reality. I think in this book World War III is currently happening, but it's all happening in space or maybe in virtual reality actually. Not entirely sure, but I'm interested in giving this one a go. I also really want to read The Best of All Possible Worlds. This is my friend Angela's favourite book. book, or one of her favourite books. I've got no idea what this one's about, but she makes it sound really good when she's talking about it. I just really enjoy the enthusiasm, so I want to give this one a go. I got this one from the library quite a while ago, and then I had to give it back because I didn't get around to it. But I think now it's probably the time, and it's quite a short book as well, so it should be one that I fly through quite quickly. I also really want to read The Last Watch. This is a sci-fi book which is kind of described as Game of Thrones meets The Expanse, which I'm sure a lot of sci-fi books are described that way. Basically what's happening in this one is the edge of the universe is collapsing, and I think a crew have to go over there and try to stop that from happening. I really enjoy end of the world, end of the universe type stuff, so I think I'm going to really enjoy this one. As far as I'm aware, it's a trilogy, but only the first 2 books are out at the moment, and this author has since started another series, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. I don't know if the duology sort of wraps up and then she's going to bring out another one eventually, or what's going on. Looking forward to giving this one a go. And then the last sci-fi book I have on this pile, even though I have like loads behind me, I had to limit myself, I had to try, is another old school YA book, and that is Vortex. It's the sequel to Tempest. It's a time travel novel. In the first book, the main character is sort of hunted down by soldiers or secret service agents of that kind of thing, and his girlfriend is killed, and that kind of shocks him into going back in time, and so he travels backwards and he realizes he wants to try to stop it. That's a very like brief summary of what happens. I don't want to spoil anything either, so this is the sequel to that, and in order to finish off this series this year, which is something that I would really like to do because I've been in the middle of it for years, I need to reread this book. So I'm definitely going to pick this one up and then read the 3rd book either this month in November or in December, because I need to finish off 2 more series to meet my goal of reading 13 series in total. So this one is high on my priority list. I then have a few kind of miscellaneous books that I really want to read. They don't really fit a certain theme. First one is We Are the Brennans. This one is a literary fiction book, I think. It's a debut novel. I really enjoy supporting debut authors. It's been on my wish list for quite a while, but I found it in the library, so I thought I would pick it up. It says here that 29-year-old Sunday wakes up in an LA hospital bruised and battered after a drunk driving accident that she caused. She goes home to her family in New York, which isn't easy. She deserted them all 5 years before, and they've got lots of questions. So I think this might be a sort of like family drama as well. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a go. I also want to pick up Suddenly a Murder because I didn't get around to reading this in October, and this is a short YA thriller. I'm not expecting amazing things from this one because my friends haven't really adored it, but if I'm in the mood for a thriller, a YA thriller, then I'll pick this one up. And speaking of thrillers, I also want to pick up A Twisted Love Story. This one is by Samantha Downing, and I've been waiting quite a while for her newest book to come out. I do have this on NetGalley as well, but I wanted to get it from the library so I could read it physically. I tend to really enjoy her books. She has really hateable characters and I really enjoy that. So I don't know what this one's about because it's a thriller, but I do imagine whoever's involved in this love story are absolutely awful, and I'm looking forward to reading about them. And then for my final sort of pile of books, I have 4 fantasy books that I really want to get to. First of all, I want to read Illusionary. So this is the sequel to Incendiary. This is a YA fantasy book, and I really enjoyed the first one actually. It was a really good book, and I want to read this one so that I can finish off the duology and meet my goal of reading 13 series this year, or finishing them off. I'm so close to hitting it. This will be a really fast-paced one to give a go. I can't really give you a summary of what the first one's about because I can't really remember, so I'm gonna have to read my recap to try and remember what happened in it. I remember really enjoying the ship, and that's about it. I also really want to read Divine Rivals so that I can recap it for recaptions. So this is the first in a duology, I think. The second book is coming out in the US in December and the UK I think in January. I'm not really sure what this is about other than the main character is an author or a writer or something and has a typewriter. I do listen when people are talking about it, but honestly it just kind of goes over my head, and yeah, I don't really understand sometimes when people are describing books because I try and tune it out because of spoilers, which is really bad for a booktuber, but it's something that I do. So yeah, I think it's about like 2 rival journalist writers, people, something about letters and typewriters. I don't really know. Everyone seems to love this one though, so I hope it's good. I also really want to read God Killer, again to recap it for recaptions. This is a really short fantasy book. All I know about this one is the main character kills gods, hence the title. It says here that she finds a god that she cannot kill. Something assassins, knights, ruined cities, wild gods, demons, all sorts happening here, and I've heard really good things about this one. Everyone who's read it seems to have really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to reading this, and the sequel for this is coming out early next year. And then the final fantasy book that I really want to read is Heart of Flames. So I think I'm going to read this one with my friend Gideon, who is Paper Riot on Instagram. This is the sequel to Crown of Feathers, so this is another series I'm trying my hardest to finish this year because I gave Crown of Feathers 5 stars when I first read it 2 years ago. Absolutely loved it, and I just never carried on with it because I'm really scared of the rest of the series not living up to how good the first one was, but I do think it can do it. So I'm finally going to pick this one up, and then in December I'm thinking I will get to Wings of Shadow, the third book, and finish this one off. So that will be 14 complete series that I read this year, or series that I have completed. I haven't read them all from start to finish. This book is about phoenix riders and warring countries and stuff. Just your typical YA fantasy book, but this one is really well written, so, and absolutely captivating, so I would highly recommend it. I think I've done a review of this one on my channel, so if you're interested, just do a search and I probably describe it more and describe it better in that review video. So I have really high hopes for this one. So that's it in terms of physical books. I might switch out my sci-fi TBR, I might bring up some other books in, I might be in the mood for like literary fiction or something. It's always hard to tell what I'm going to be interested in. I also really want to try and make a start on my 2024 advanced readers copies from NetGalley, because I keep requesting and my NetGalley ratio is looking atrocious, so I really want to try to get ahead, because in theory by doing that I can then focus on my backlog. It makes sense to me, it seems entirely logical. I'm just having a quick look to see if I've got many books coming out in January, because they're the ones that I'd like to focus on the most, I think. Okay, I do have a few coming out, but nothing that I am sure that I'm going to absolutely love. So I have The Glass Woman, This Wretched Valley, Glorious Exploit, and Where the Dead Wait, and 27 Minutes. So I'm gonna try and read a couple of those at least to try and get ahead for my January new releases, so I don't fall horribly behind like I have this year. That's my entire TBR. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I'm feeling very optimistic and very ambitious, like I said. Let me know if you have read any of these, which ones you think I will enjoy. I might do an Iron Flame reading vlog if I feel like it, because I think that would be really fun, even though I'm sure everyone is going to do an Iron Flame reading vlog, but everyone else's vlogs won't have a puppy in them, or at least my puppy. So yeah, I'd better switch off now and get to reading, because this TBR isn't going to read itself. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye.